Welcome back to The Deep Dive. So, if you're following college football at all, you obviously know the name Sherrone Moore. He's the new guy at Michigan, taking over for Jim Harbaugh right after the championship.
Right. And I think the common assumption is that this is just, a simple handoff.
Just keep the train on the tracks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you think he's just driving the same car, our sources are telling us you were profoundly mistaken.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting. What we're seeing in Ann Arbor, we're calling it the quiet revolution.
It's more than just putting his own stamp on things. He is, and this is not an exaggeration, he is fundamentally dismantling the entire architectural philosophy that won them a national championship literally last year.
That's the huge claim we're tackling today. He's not just replacing Harbaugh, he's rewriting the source code and the new blueprint. It's this fascinating mix of high-level football ideas.
We're talking about concepts pulled from the Baltimore Ravens offense, the really evolved Lamar Jackson version.
And then there are pieces from the Shanahan coaching tree, so think wide zones, bootlegs.
And almost unbelievably, there are even some air raid principles in there about tempo and how they attack the boundaries of the field.
So our mission today is to give you the context to understand why this is happening. We're just doing some pattern recognition here, looking at Moore's history as a play caller and the new reality of the Big Ten.
And the question is, will this vision completely revolutionize Big Ten football, or is it going to, as one of our sources put it, expose Michigan to catastrophic failure?
Okay, so let's just jump in. To get this, you first have to understand what he inherited. You have to appreciate the philosophy of that 2023 championship team.
That team was built on one thing, what our sources call overwhelming physical dominance at the line of scrimmage.
It was a beautiful thing to watch, but it was very specific.
Oh, totally. Their commitment to running the ball, it bordered on a religious conviction. They would line up to you exactly what was coming, and you just couldn't do anything about it.
And on defense, it was the same philosophy. Stop the run first, and then find ways to get pressure without having to blitz all the time. It was pure identity football.
And it worked. It worked brilliantly.
Right.
In a very specific context.
Right, the old Big Ten. You think about it, it was a Midwest-centric conference.
Grinder football. Weather becomes a factor in November. Most teams were built around that same kind of physical run-first idea. Michigan was perfectly designed for that environment.
But that world is gone. It's completely gone. The Big Ten in 2026 is a totally different animal.
When you add USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, you're not just adding dots on a map, you're injecting completely different philosophical DNA into the conference.
And that's the core of it. That's the reason for this revolution. Think about how those teams play. They grew up in the Pac-12, where spread offenses, tempo, RPOs, that was just how you survived.
Exactly. These teams are not going to be intimidated by a traditional I-formation power run. Their entire rosters are built to defend quarterbacks who can run, to tackle in open space.
So if Michigan just trots out the same old heavy gap scheme power plays,
those new teams have the athletes and the schemes to shut that down way faster than, say, a team from the old Big Ten West ever could.
And you can't forget the weather factor either. Michigan used to have this huge advantage, Slow the game down in the snow, turn it into a fist fight.
But now, half your conference schedule could be against teams from the West Coast.
Yeah.
That advantage is just gone. You can't count on a muddy field when you're playing a team that throws the ball 40 times a game.
Moore saw this coming. Our sources say he was studying tape, especially on teams like Georgia and Ohio State, and he saw how they had evolved.
He saw that they had athletes with so much speed that they could recover from a mistake or just outrun Michigan's power concepts. But only if, and this is the key, only if those power concepts weren't paired with what he calls legitimate constraint plays.
Meaning the defense could just sell out to stop the run because they weren't afraid of getting beaten over the top.
They could just commit, yeah. They didn't have to worry about a complex counterpunch.
So I have to ask about that catastrophic failure line. If he's this detail-oriented, why is this so risky? Is it just trying to mash too many systems together? Or does he not have the players for it?
That's a great question. And the risk is absolutely in the speed of the implementation. He's asking players recruited for one system to learn 3 different languages at once.
So how does he solve that?
Well, this brings us to one of his key tactical insights. He looked at the tight end position, which in the 2023 offense had basically become an extra offensive lineman. schematically.
Right, almost ornamental, as you said. They were blockers.
Right, and he saw this enormous, untapped strategic resource just sitting there, completely dormant.
So let's get into that philosophical split. He's not ditching the run game. He's redefining what run first even means.
Correct. For Harbaugh, run first was about grinding the clock, winning time of possession, just demoralizing you physically. For Moore, it's totally different. It's about establishing the credible threat of an explosive run.
Ah, okay. So the goal of running isn't just to get 4 yards. It's to make the defense panic.
Precisely. The run has to be scary enough, dynamic enough, and this is where you start to see that Shanahan influence. That it forces the defense to change their alignment or their personnel.
You mean like pulling a safety down into the box?
Exactly. And once you force them to make that choice, that's when they're vulnerable to play action. The run game becomes the setup. It's the mechanism you use to get your explosive passing plays.
So that's where the different systems start to click together. You mentioned Shanahan. We're talking about that wide zone scheme, right? The one that stretches the defense from sideline to sideline.
Absolutely. The wide zone is perfect for this because it creates the illusion of a huge run threat while getting the entire defense moving horizontally.
And once they start flowing hard to stop that run,
the quarterback can pull it and run a bootleg the other way into empty space. And who's waiting there? Usually it's the tight end crossing the field against a linebacker who's completely out of position.
which connects right into the Ravens analogy. I mean, you look at Baltimore's offense, it started out as this really physical but kind of predictable power read system.
Under Greg Roman, yeah. Then Todd Monken takes over and he transforms it. He used the threat of the run to create these perfect one-on-one matchups for his receivers and tight ends.
Play action wasn't just a changeup anymore.
No, it became a core part of their identity, a philosophical pillar. And that is exactly the direction Moore is taking Michigan, just adapting it for the college game.
And when you put those two ideas together, the Shanahan movement and the Ravens' focus on mismatches, suddenly the tight end isn't just an extra blocker.
He becomes the primary weapon. He attacks the empty spaces that defense creates when they overcommit to the run. That dormant resource suddenly becomes the engine of your whole passing game.
Let's talk about the tactics he's using to force those bad decisions from the defense, because this is where it gets really smart. Our sources kept pointing to this one brilliant little chess move.
Yeah.
Bringing back the fullback.
If you watched Michigan last year, the fullback was mostly a short yardage or goal line guy. Pretty predictable.
And when you hear fullback now, you think of like 90s football. It feels like it goes against everything we just said about spread concepts.
But see, it's not nostalgia. It is a purely tactical move, and it's devastatingly effective in the new Big Ten. Because when you put a true fullback on the field in today's game, you create an immediate problem for the defensive coordinator.
Okay, walk us through the problem. What's the choice they have to make?
Well, they have to account for that extra gap in the run game, and they basically have two bad options. Option one, bring a safety down into the box.
Which gives you leverage in the run game, but you're now vulnerable to a deep pass.
Exactly. Option two is you use a linebacker to match the fullback. But now you have a huge mismatch in the passing game. You've got a slower linebacker trying to cover an athletic tight end or even a receiver in motion.
And Moore is betting that these coordinators, especially the ones coming from the Pac-12 who are used to defending 4 wide receiver sets, they just don't have good optimized answers for that.
They don't. It's an instant advantage that exploits their specific lack of preparation. The fullback becomes the first domino he pushes over to get the defense exactly where he wants them.
And this is where it all comes together, the core of this whole revolution. If you're forcing bad choices, you have to be talking about constraint theory.
This is the critical piece. This is what makes it more than just another power offense. Our sources say he is obsessed with constraint theory. It's the foundation of everything.
So let's define that for everyone listening, because it can sound complicated. What does that actually mean to build a playbook on constraint theory?
Think of it like this. For every core play you have, let's say it's a snarl inside zone run, you also build 3 or 4 counterpunches or constraint plays.
And they have to look identical at the snap.
Identical, same formation, same motion. But they're designed to attack the exact spot where the defense is overreacting to stop your core play.
So give us a real example.
Okay, so you're running that inside zone. The defensive end on the backside keeps crashing down hard to stop the run. Moore's constraint play is a quarterback keeper or a bootleg pass right into the space the defender just left.
Or if a safety starts cheating up toward the line,
the constraint play is a pop pass to the tight end right over his head into that zone he just vacated. The point is, the defense now has to prepare for 4 or 5 different plays just to stop your one basic run.
So you're not trying to outmuscle them anymore, you're trying to outthink them. You're making them process 4 things in 2 seconds.
And that's where explosive plays come from in the modern game. When a defense have to think instead of just reacting, Moore is betting he can overwhelm the defensive minds of the new Big Ten with that complexity.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground here. Let's try to synthesize this. The big strategic shift is pretty clear. Michigan is moving from physical dominance being the goal
to physical dominance being the mechanism.
the mechanism you use to create opportunities in the passing game.
Absolutely. The entire system is built to exploit the exact vulnerabilities of these new spread and speed Big Ten teams. The old Michigan power identity becomes the setup for a much more sophisticated attack.
And the stakes, as our sources laid out, are incredibly high. This vision either leads to a complete revolution in the conference, or it could be a catastrophic failure if the complexity is just too much to execute perfectly.
It's a knife's edge. It demands near-perfect installation and coaching.
Which leaves us with one final thought for you to chew on. We know he's blending the Ravens, Shanahan, even some air raid stuff. But if he's so committed to constraint theory, to building those answers for every core concept, what is that very first core concept that this entire new offense will be built around?
Is it going to be a run, maybe the Shanahan wide zone? Or is it a passing concept to get the tight end involved right away? The answer to that question will tell you everything you need to know about whether this revolution can actually succeed.
Something to keep an eye on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.